This live martial arts class, you'll discover how to make a Joe staff and also how to defend yourself with a Joe staff. I was thinking about this today. I've been reading these articles in the news lately, and I've been talking to local law enforcement. They're all saying the same thing with this COVID-19 or whatever you want to call it. They're not responding to most calls other than like taking down the information and calling them back at a later time. That means they're not sending a police officer out when someone might be burglarizing your business or kicking in your door. Somebody might come up and grab something from you, and it's not that they don't care. Oh, good morning. It's that they're overwhelmed. They don't want to get so many police officers sick with COVID-19 that they can't then respond to the bigger crimes. So the police officers around the world are saying, we're going to respond to major crimes, murders, gunshots, someone's kicking in your door, maybe, and that because we don't want to be able to or not be able to respond to them when we have to. So police officers are not out there as much responding to regular crime and a lot of person-to-person crime. So I was thinking, you've been training for a long time with the longer bow staff. That's one of my favorite weapons, but one of my all-time most favorite weapon is the Joe, which is a shorter version of the Japanese weapon, and it's usually a little bit smaller in diameter. And the police used to carry this in Japan because it's such an effective weapon. And it doubles as a walking stick, and it's very effective. You put it between you and the threat, whoever's coming in to you, and then you just simply hit them. And you have all the same thrusting strikes. You have that downward strike coming across. And so this is a force multiplier, multiplying the power of your strikes, your ability to defend yourself in a real and practical way. But I keep looking online, like where could you order an inexpensive starter Joe staff that you could start with right away that you could carry for the next, I don't know, hopefully 2 weeks, maybe 6 weeks of world craziness when you feel, and I see it right now. You go out to the stores, I've been out to the stores, and I see people are just full of anxiety. They're full of panic for some of them, and this is always true. You'll either prepare or you'll have to panic. And I want you to prepare. I want you to prepare to be able to defend yourself with something that looks like a walking stick, which is a walking stick, which you can either carry it with you, you can have it in your car as a walking stick. It can be inside your house in case you need to defend yourself for real. And it's not as long as a bow staff. A bow staff in a lot of apartments or houses, small places, gets stuck on the ceiling. In fact, the story of the Joe comes from the famous Musashi fight where the monk who is fighting Musashi with his longer bow staff keeps getting stuck in the trees. Musashi was smart like that. He said, let's go fight up there on the top of the hill where all the trees are, because he knew the monk wouldn't be able to. Having been defeated in the fight, the monk goes away. Because he's a monk, he goes into deep thought, he's meditating, and it occurs to him, if I cut my staff down into a shorter staff, a Joe, see how that bends here? It's not gonna get stuck on anything. The story goes, the next time the monk fights Musashi, he wins with his Joe instead of his bow. The bow, remember, that's the long martial arts staff. That's super fun. It's one of my favorite weapons, but the Joe is my all-time #1 favorite. And a lot of Aikido schools will practice this. And here's just a real quick, not disclaimer, but for you authentic Aikido guys with a lot of money who spend a lot of money on making these things, and you have them specially made for you, this is not your video. This is for you if you want a very practical, very inexpensive weapon that you can carry, tool, self-defense tool, that you can carry down the street and practice inside. Maybe if you have a Joe staff, you've already knocked over a couple of lamps, put a hole in the ceiling or a big scratch on that ceiling, and you're frustrated. This weapon right here, this shorter bow staff, which is a Joe, this short staff does all those same things, super effective, has even some of its own moves, kind of similar to the sword. Can be used as the sword, and you can practice this inside your living room. You can practice this inside the house if you're not able to get outside. Maybe you practice on a balcony. You can practice simple self-defense moves. It has all the same moves as the bow, as the longer staff. It also has its own set of moves. So this video is about how you make your own for less than $10 US, less than 10 bucks. I was just at Lowe's, one of the big department stores. They also have these at Home Depot, and I'll put a link in this video when I'm done. If you want to go online and buy one for Amazon, it's going to be a little bit more expensive because of shipping. But if you can go to the store and pick them up, Mahesh, hello. Fam, hello. You can get one of these, and this is a spinning pole. Ah, perfect. Spinning in the rain. The rain cleanses us, right? The rain has all that, the negative ions coming down from the sky, changing into positivity. Rain is good for us. It makes us feel more positive. Washes away all of the dirt. Even if there's a little bit of pollution in the rain, it's still good for you. All right, so this is a painter's pole or a sander's pole, or you put it on a broomstick. It's just a basic 5-foot extension pole. And I wanted to show you there, 5 feet or 1.5 meters. So that's all that is. This was $6.99 US at Lowe's. One of the stores, it's about the same price at Home Depot. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them at all of the big department stores like that. I don't know if Target has it, but I know you can buy them at almost any hardware store or most of those general merchandise stores. It's a very simple thing. Now, the reason I want you to get one of these, if you're interested and you're starting from scratch and you want to have your own short staff to practice inside and that you can use to defend yourself. Remember, first step, pay attention. Second step, put the weapon between you and the threat. Third step, point your thumb right at the threat. Fourth step, hit them, right? All of a sudden, now your strikes have a lot more power because you've got a big stick in your hand. And the nice thing about this is you can do all of those wrist rolls. You can do all your figure 8 spinning. You can do your finger rolls, all the things that you can do with that bow staff you can do, but you can also do these striking motions. And I'm going to leave you today with a couple of things that you can practice on your own after we turn this into the Joe staff. Right now, still a painter's pole, still an extension pole, 5-foot extension pole. This one, I've seen them 2 ways. They either have a rivet here, which is just a metal thing, and they pull the end off. If it has a rivet, it's going to be a little bit harder to come off. You can either cut the wood right there, which still leaves it plenty long. So if yours has the rivet there and you don't want to drill it out, just cut this to the end. This one, I saw this, I got all excited. See that? It just has a Phillips head. That's what we call these, Phillips head screw, and a little inexpensive, I think this is like $2 at the dollar store. Super handy to have one of these little screwdrivers. Has all the extra attachments there in the handle. Take that out. Oh, this is important too. See that? My skin is drying out. Your skin's probably drying out too from all the hand washing and all the alcohol-based, what is that stuff? Sanitizer. My kids call it Hanitizer. Well, that Hanitizer is drying us out. So this is going to be good too, because you're going to put some oil on this, and you can use, I like to use this because I grew up as a painter's son. I painted since I'm 4 years old. I know everything about it, I think. I know a lot about it. Boiled linseed oil. I like the boiled because it doesn't get as tacky, or if it's raw linseed oil is okay too, but it leaves it tacky. That means it's sticky. With the boiled linseed oil, it's not gonna be sticky. Now it says right on the back, don't put this on your skin. I didn't know any of those things growing up. I'm sure my skin is full of chemicals and stuff and heavy metals and lead, right? I don't know. I might not make it to 150. Maybe I'll make it to 125. Put gloves on if you need to. If you can't find any gloves because there aren't anywhere to buy anymore, just try not to get it on you too much. And then you just rub that down a couple times. Now, this is like $6-7 at a paint store or a hardware store. You can get it at Walmart. You don't need that. You can use coconut oil. You don't want to use a lot of cooking oils, the regular cooking oils, because they become rancid. But they only become rancid if they just sit. Now, in the old style, you do it once, you get a little bit of that linseed oil in there, kind of let it soak in. Look at that, the top just pops off. the top's off. I took that screw out. But the oil in your hand gets into, from all of this movement of that staff and all this practice, gets in there, right? But we don't have any oil on our hands anymore. That's why you wash your hands, to pull the oil off, just to keep us safe from the germs or whatever. So there's not much oil left in our hands these days. It'll keep making it. And then you wash them again. You have to go out and you wash them again. But traditionally, once you get this thing oiled up once or twice, you don't need a lot more extra oil to put on it because you're getting that coming out of your hands. So use a little bit of linseed oil if you have it. But if you don't worry about it. Use whatever oil you have. Don't use Pam's. That stuff doesn't work. But olive oil works. Cottonseed oil works. Just about any oil. I like, what did I say earlier? Coconut oil. Mineral oil. Mineral oil is beautiful. Mineral oil is one of the best you can possibly use, right? Pull this off. Get that sticker off. If you have any extra sticky there, and I'll do this after we're done, you just put a little bit of dish detergent on that and let that kind of rub in there. Get a towel like this. This is one of those microfiber. You just rub it, it'll come right off with a microfiber. If not, you might have to work it a little bit. Just work it a little bit. Don't worry about it. Once you start getting that oil in there, that'll start to loosen that up and bring that off too. But now, for $6.97 plus tax, right? I've got a Joe staff. Awesome, congratulations on your kick. That's all it takes, daily practice. And the yogis say this all the time. They say move in the direction that you want to go. Don't go for perfection, just move in that direction. Understand, if you can't do everything overnight, but you can do a lot in a year. That's what you're saying, right? Sinja Man, a little bit every day, man, that gets so much improvement. He said his kicks got a lot better. All right, so the last step that you might want to do, if you have a piece of sandpaper, sand that just a little smooth. If not, don't worry about it, because your hands are going to take care of that. The reason I want you to do one of these poles, one of these painter poles or extension poles, because they've already sanded it for you. They don't want you to get splinters or you're not going to buy their products. It's already smooth enough and it's unfinished. If you get one that's finished, that's fine too. Your hands will eventually rub off the finish and you can refinish it. But now you've got it. That's all you need to do. From here, I want you to see this. You should be able to bend your elbow and then your forearm is parallel to the ground or the sky, however you want to think about it. And then you have a little bit coming up. Now, 51, 52 inches, that's what my other ones are. They come up to about here. So I'll cut this down if I want. I don't necessarily need to cut this down. You don't have to cut it down. But if you think about with your elbow bent and you come up from your thumb about 2 inches, that's mid-chest, kind of your nipple line, and you cut it right there. And that's the perfect length for a Joe. Joe's between like 48 inches, and it all depends on how tall you are, right? 48 inches to about 5 feet, 54 inches, 56 inches, or whatever. From here, you stand behind it. You walk into it as a walking stick. It doubles as a walking stick. You reach forward and come forward. Or if you need to, you can carry it like this. This is a little bit more menacing, right? Down the street. This looks like you're just going for a nice walk. You have a little bit extra support here. And then, just like before, you put the weapon between you and the threat, point your thumb. As soon as you point the thumb, that pops it up into that backhand. Into the backhand, the next step, now this is where it differs a little bit from that bow staff. There's a lot of sliding that you can do. Remember before when we just did that spearing motion? Now I can spear, but I can also allow it to slide through my hands, creating more distance and a harder, more impactful strike as I drive it right through his midsection, right? Right through his solar plexus. Stick his spine out of his back. So from here, put it here, and then you just kind of drive into it. Yes, excellent. It all works together. Your body is a unit, it's all together, right? You start to move, everything gets better. You get behind it, point your thumb, strike. Now, from here, I want you to think of other strikes you can do. Since you've already moved them back here, you just bringing this in, now can go into that downward angle strike, right? From here, strike here, downward angle strike. You can see this on this bag. That's the pushing strike. That's the downward strike. And it hits really hard. From here, push, that downward angle strike, and now you can slide your hands into that other position. This is a good practice. Practice 1, 2. Just over and over again. You can do this with the bow staff. It's very important with the Joe. In the Joe, because of the length, you're going to be changing hands constantly. Found the rough spot there. That's good. It's a good way to practice something new, something different. Get out of my comfort zone, get out of your comfort zone, and you have all these different striking motions. Those you're gonna learn. I'm gonna do more of these videos now that I have a Joe again. I haven't had a Joe for months. I needed one. I was jonesing for a Joe. Went to the hardware store, $6.97 later, plus tax. I have my Joe again. It'll take me 2 minutes today to finish this, to get that off, to sand that down a little bit, throw some linseed or some of this, what was the other one you said? Mineral oil. I've got mineral oil too, but I'll put some linseed oil on first. I'll just soak that in there. What happens is that oil goes in and pushes any water that's left in there. But also the other nice thing about these, they're made to be really sturdy. They don't want these, they do want them to break eventually, so you gotta buy another one. But they want them to last a long time from constant use. Sanding the wall, this is a sanding pole. Painting with a roller, this is a painting pole. Maybe you've got your brush and you're cleaning the floor. This is too thin to be a shovel, but it's not too thin to be a rake, right? You're raking up leaves. So it's designed to be super sturdy. Oh, this is a good move too. See this? Both hands in this push-up position with one side longer than the other. This downward strike, this reverse thrusting strike, all very powerful because the way it turns your arms and locks things in. These are all moves that you're gonna learn with your Joe. All right, I wanna leave you with one practice real quick. I gotta get it off here so my kids can do the class thing. What do they call that? I think it's funny. Everybody's now teaching online. I've been teaching online since 2006. And now, yes. Yeah, good point. All of this spiraling in martial arts is to deflect that direct energy. If I take my hand, I've seen it. I saw a guy one time try to block. It was in a pro Taekwondo fight back in the days when they thought pro Taekwondo was gonna be the next big thing. And then the UFC came out and crushed them all. But it was all, we were all in there. We wanted to be pro Taekwondo fighters, right? So less gear, a lot more knockouts, a lot harder kicks, a lot harder punches. And this guy who had no business being, he wasn't even a good amateur. He was a heavyweight. And he's a nice kid. I liked him really a lot, but he had no business. And we all said, he shouldn't fight him. He's gonna get hurt. First kick, guy throws a hard roundhouse kick with his shin, blocks straight down here. And his arm, I still can picture it. His fist came back and touched his elbow as it wrapped around the other kid's shin. You know, just shattered both bones in there. Boom. Nasty, one of the nastiest breaks I've ever seen. Not the nastiest though. I saw a guy in one of my classes. I had this guest Korean instructor, and he was having these super unfit dudes do this really hard exercise that they were not ready for. And I kept saying to him, I was trying to explain it to him in Korean, but my Korean's not very good. I was trying to say, you know, these guys are not ready. These aren't like the young Korean guys you just taught in Korea last year at university. These overweight Americans are gonna get hurt. And this guy was doing these speed drills, running back and forth, and his toe got stuck between two of the mats, and it ripped off his big toe. Like the front of it, this bone shattered, and it cut that skin, and so it looked like that. He's standing there like this, and I come out of my office because I have this big school, and I hear this screaming like a little baby, like a baby was screaming. I would be screaming too if I thought I lost my toe. And this guy, this grown man, he's reached over, screaming, bloody murder. And someone had already called 911 even though the fire department was next door and they were already in the building. I'm like, don't do that. You don't want a whole bunch of ambulances out in front of your martial arts school. Anyway, he comes up, he's like, I lost my toe, I lost it. He didn't really lose it. What happened was everything shattered and broke. He had to have surgery. It was a really bad tear, break in the bone. And it had flopped under. He couldn't see it. We couldn't see. All you could see was white bone and cartilage and whatever else is in there. And it looked like his whole toe was just ripped off. That's the worst one. That's not the worst knockout I've seen. I saw this kid get hit with a wheel kick, one of my fighters, and I told his mom and dad, I'm like, he's not ready. And they were insistent, he's going to the Olympics. I'm like, no, he's not. But you can't tell some parents that. And this kid got wheel kicked right here, and he went down cussing the whole way. He's just cussing a blue streak. And like most martial arts schools, a lot of people, there are a lot of doctors there, right? Because people who are more educated do martial arts, people who want the best for their kids, a growth mindset, they do martial arts. It's the secret. It's the secret to high grades and success in life, martial arts. Competition is good too. You need to get hit and learn how to hit. Anyway, this kid fought one of the worst wheel kicks I've ever seen. Didn't go out though, but his eyeball looked like it exploded in his head. I've seen that a couple times too. Anyway, I don't know how I digress so much. I get excited thinking about some of these things because I love the fight so much. Point is this. I don't remember my point. If you remember my point, put it in the comment section below. I got so lost, I can't even get back. I gotta let the kids do the yoga with Zoom call. They got the Zoom call coming up. So I gotta get off of here and go sign them up. We're all teaching online now. I think that's where we started this. Here's what I want you to finish with. All right, put your hands together. This is just for the Joe. You can do this with the bow too, but the Joe is a lot easier. You're gonna slide your hands in and slide them through. Slide in and slide them through. When you slide, allow that Joe to turn. You wanna get really, really good. Sometimes you can. You know, I often think of this, and I'm sure every generation does this to the generation before, that you think, you know, when I was younger, we used to get this, and you guys today, you can't handle whatever. But you think about that. Like, I'm sure if, with all the times that I've been knocked out when I was younger, that if the rules that exist now existed then, I would never been able to do any of this stuff. If I had all of the x-rays that they have now for kids, anytime they fall, they get an x-ray. Oh, he's got a hairline fracture. I'm sure I had 1 million hairline fractures. Maybe I didn't, I don't know. But yes, times have changed. And if you could walk it off. All right, so see what I'm doing? I'm trying to find the balance of my staff. Eventually, I want to bring my hands out to the side. Bring the hands out to the side, bring it out. And you just want to go in one direction for a while and then try to go back the other direction. And this is to help you learn how to move the staff through space and time without taking your hand off of it. Because my hand keeps slipping off. I need more practice. So from here, I'm striking. I'm over to this side. I come back here. I hit you here. Excuse me. I have to be able to do that. And it's going to take a long time before I get back to being good at that. Before you will too. Every staff has its own feel. But practice that. Start with your hands on the side. Slide them in. Whoop. Let it turn. Excuse me. Slide in, let it turn. It's not the Wu hand. I'm just choking on my spit. Got all excited talking about knockouts. Just like that. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Plus, get behind it. Practice your strike. Get behind it. Practice over and over so that from the first day you've got it, you can defend yourself with it. Let me know in the comment section what else you want to work on. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for your comments today.